Yeah, that would have been great. I still, that's the weird thing. So let's talk about this real quick. Like, so we only brought in one wide receiver from the draft, which really is surprising,
Yep.
especially when we also didn't add a second lineman,
Nope.
and we did add two running backs. So
Yep.
it's a weird,
Mhm.
it's just a weird circumstance. So lots of Jets fans they have this mindset right now of bringing in another wide receiver. Now the pickings are slim.
Yeah.
As we know, Tyler Boyd is now with the Titans, so their wide receiver core is nice
Oh,
and
he went
stacked.
there? I did not know that.
Oh yeah. He signed yesterday, I believe, was 4.5 million. Tigo.
Jesus, you turn off Twitter for like 3 days and everybody goes everywhere. Like
That's right.
Claypool is now in Diggs's number in Buffalo, and look at that.
Claypool, yep. So all that stuff. So there's not much going on out there. Now we're talking about trading for Treylon Burks. I don't know
I would do it.
why. Like I mean, I guess wide receiver 4 or 5, I'm sure. And I liked him coming out, I have to admit. But I don't see it. I mean, and anybody else you have your eye on? I mean, is what are you thinking now? I think we're kind of done, Tigo.
I hope we're not done.
Who's there?
But I agree with you. Here's the thing. We don't know what we don't know yet. Because Morgan Moses wasn't available until he was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so there might be that, like, Joe Douglas traded out of the 4th to get a 3rd next year, and then the Broncos make Courtland Sutton available. And now it's a different ball game. Now you're having a different conversation because now you've got this wide receiver that you can go get that's an instant upgrade, or whatever.
You never know too, because then you have the Mike Tannenbaum labeled mini draft, which is the big waiver cut down day at the end of training camp. So you never know.
And some UDFA, some 5th round wide receiver is going to take some 2nd or 3rd round guy's job. That's going to happen somewhere. So we might not get the high end, the high upside wide receiver that we wanted, right? But there is this possibility of a wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5 sneaking free because they have these younger guys on cost-controlled contracts that they can control long-term versus this veteran that they signed on a 1-year deal,
Yeah.
And so there's always that kind of idea. But honestly, the only name that's a free agent that I look at that I go, league-min deal, come in, sure, is MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and that's literally just to be a burner. Because it's him or Robbie Anderson, and I'm not doing that again. So, and they're the only guys that are like burners that are left, that can just like take a top off of a defense. So that's what I would like. If there's a guy who can take the top off of a defense that's available, go get him. But there isn't very many, and at that point, I'd just be like,
I don't know. I mean,
the crew that we have.
Yeah, I think that the Jets just like Brownlee and Gipson enough to have them as 5 and 6. That's what I think.
This is an interesting question. I want to ask you, Green Bean, and I want to have your thoughts on it. I was having this conversation in another group chat about the Jets and the 53-man roster, and it's way too early to have this conversation about the whole 53-man roster, right? But I was having this conversation about is as much as we love X as a fan base, I think that he is on the roster bubble very, very clearly. Because I think if you look at the rest of the wide receiver room, Xavier Gipson.
X. Okay. I was like,
sorry. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Because if you look at the rest of the wide receiver room, I think that we can confidently say that at least 5 of the wide receivers that are on the team right now are going to be locks to make the team. And that's Mike Williams, Garrett Wilson, Malachi Corley, Alan Lazard, and then Irv Charles, because he can play special teams, right?
Right.
And so then you've got one spot left. Now, technically, last year we took 7 wide receivers, but that was so that we could wait for the cuts to happen, and then we cut a guy, and then we brought a guy in, and because Carter Warren was going to go on the IR, it was this whole thing, right? And no one was going to claim Bawden, so we cut, like, it was cap gymnastics, right? Is there a world in which, because I think that that roster spot is going to be Xavier Gipson versus Israel 𝐒𝐵𝐞𝐾𝐭. Who's going to win the punt return job? Because Izzy needs to find a spot on the roster because I think he's clearly running back 4. And Xavier Gipson outside of week 1, had a really bad year. 5 fumbles, really bad routes, really bad hands. Just wasn't an asset that we could really use all that well. And I hope for the best, and I hope that he improves. But it's an interesting conversation. What are your thoughts about that? Do you think that Xavier Gipson, do you think that there is a real roster battle between him and Izzy on who's going to be that special teams returner? Or is it just...
No, there could be, because it's a totally different deal this year with the kickoffs. And we don't know exactly what that's going to look like. But let me say this. The Jets released a tweet earlier today, and it said, Tyrod Taylor's deep ball is a thing of beauty or some shit like that. And it was a slow motion pass. Tyler Boyd launching it down the field. And Xavier Gipson was the receiver. And all I saw was that he went like this. And he caught it instead of with his hands. And I wrote, I said, all I see is a basket catch, everybody. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Look, I'm going to say this. I don't love Xavier Gipson. Okay. I root for him, of course. And he gave us the most exciting play of the whole friggin' year last year.
Yep.
Can't take it away. It was magical. But that was week 1, and he did very, very little. And he had a couple nice plays. He had another touchdown on an end around, but lots of fumbles and stupid shit that he did. And I'm just going to say it, man. I'm not a Gipson fan. I'm not. So I would much rather, if there's going to be that type of a battle, like, look, we drafted 2 running backs, right? So we have 4. I don't know what the plan is with Bawden, but Irv Charles is on the team. And if it's Brownlee or Gipson,
give me Brownlee.
I'm going Brownlee. I am.
I agree. I am in total lockstep with you in that. I'm not the biggest Xavier Gipson fan. Look, X gave us one of the best week 1 moments ever. Winning. I was there. That was my first ever Jets game. I will never forget that.
You have as many wins in that building as I have.
And like, I'll never forget that. But this idea that Xavier Gipson is so good that he's a roster lock, which I think a lot of people think, I think is not outside of the realm of possibility. And I will say this, I think the other roster battle that's very interesting that I'm going to watch, because you brought it up, is Nick Bawden versus Zach Kuntz. You can't carry both of them. Are you going to take Bawden for his what seemed like below average run blocking last year, or are you going to keep Zach Kuntz for the upside on the athleticism?
What's up, guys? Matt O'Leary from Talkin' Jets. If you liked that video, please make sure to subscribe and follow for more New York Jets content.